Good evening and namaste to all of you, dear students, teachers, parents, and others. As you know that we have been inviting some of the experts, stalwarts, champions from their respective fields since the inception of this Genius Lakshya program. This is an initiative by the Genius Group of Institutions Rajkot, where we teach, train, guide, and motivate our students to pursue their career in the competitive life in the competitive examinations. As we have been conducting various training programs for UPSC, GPSC, NDA, CDS, Army, Navy, Air Force, banking, railway, and other examinations. So such type of experts are coming, guiding, and counseling the students the right path. And today we have an expert, sir. Good evening and
Good
namaskaram to
evening.
you, sir. And you are welcome to the live session of the Genius Lakshya program.
Good
And
evening.
in spite of being a very occupied person, you are busy still, you have spared some time for our students. So we are highly obliged and thankful to you, sir. So I would like to introduce sir in a very nutshell, because sir has a long experience academically, professionally, and as far as the accolades and achievements are concerned, he has achieved so many things. So I would not like take much of the time, but definitely I would like to introduce Honorable Dr. Rajesh Bojan sir in a nutshell, in a brief. Dr. Rajesh Bojan sir, just I would like to introduce that Dr. Rajesh Bojan sir is the founder of the Dawn Publishers and editor-in-chief of the Dawn Journal, an internationally recognized multidisciplinary, peer-reviewed academic and exploratory journal. And sir, you have over a decade of experience in teaching, and at present you are working as an assistant professor and senior verbal trainer at Sri Sakti Institute of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. Sir, you have secured both British Council certified, that is CEFR C1 advanced level in English proficiency, and English first standard English test, that is set certified CEFR C2 proficiency proficient in English. Sir, you have received your BA in literature from Sri Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya College of Arts and Science in 2006 from 2006, and an MA from Loyola College, Chennai in 2008. Sir, also you have earned your MPhil from Bharatiyar University in 2009, and sir, you have also earned your PhD in literature from Government Arts College, Coimbatore in 2021. Believe me, dear audience, the list goes on. Sir has high level of experience as a trainer, as a teacher, as an academician, and see the profile he has got in a short period of time in such a young age, that we are privileged and obliged that we learn a lot from you, sir. So now, would you like to tell something about you, sir? Then please you can. Then we'll start the presentation of the day.
Definitely, Rohit sir. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. I'm really honored to be here. And I really thank the management of Genius Group of Institutions, Rajkot, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with all the students, faculty, and of course the public. And I'm really honored and privileged for giving, for the institution for offering me this opportunity. And at this instance, I would like to also thank Dr. Arun Behera, because he is my mentor and he is the one who introduced me to this wonderful group, which has been committing itself for the students' development and doing a lot for the improvement of learning and teaching. I've been watching them for a long time. They have invited so many guest speakers of various from various disciplines. So it really inspires for everyone, I think, like to be part of the Genius Group of Institutions initiatives. So for being a part, I should be really gratefully honored and thankful to you, sir. And yeah, I'm ready with the presentation, sir. So
Yes, sir. Would you like to tell you something, because you have done more than what you have actually in your CV? So, would you like to tell something about our for our students that you are interested, 100% committed for your growth and development? Lot of certificates of English, PhD, MPhil. So, please tell us something about that. Then we'll start the presentation.
definitely, sir. Yeah, I actually hail from Uti, and the one thing that has always inspired me was like I always wanted to do something that would always, uplift us in terms of our career. So initially, when I started my career, I was not focusing much on money because I really wanted to build my skills first. So for that, I had to do a lot of things. So I completed my BA, then MA. So one thing that I want to recommend for all the student is that you people have to be really focused in what you want. So if we have multiple focus, we'll not be able to achieve anything, in a perfect way. So I think in the beginning, right from your school, I think you guys have to be really focused about what you want to have in your life. That is one thing. And the next thing, focus combined with passion. So passion should be there. So if I'm into teaching today, or if I'm into training today, it has been like almost 12 years. I'm still in the same field. I have not thought of moving away from this because of the passion that I have for teaching. And the other thing is, like in teaching, we can help a lot of people, uplift their life. So these two things have been the driving force behind. I think I'm not successful to say that. I cannot say that I'm successful, but I've done something which has, to some extent helped my career, and it has also helped people around me. So I think, yeah, my students get inspired when I speak or when I want to tell something. So that is kind of, I think, like not just a teacher, people from any background, any discipline can really achieve if you're focused and if you're passionate about what you want to do in your life. That is one thing that I want to tell. And the next thing is like, see, once you try to, learn what you need in your life, then you have to be committed. So commitment is very important. So I have seen youngsters nowadays, like they are not being committed to what they are doing. Like they are really like they are interested in something for, say, like for few months, and after that they completely change their interest. And I think commitment is really essential. And dedication, hard work. I always go by the principle that hard work really rewards more than smart work. Smart work is essential, but hard work teaches you better things and it takes you to a better level. So I think we all should, learn to work hard and be smart at times. So both are essential. So another thing that I want to tell is, character and attitude matters a lot. So like people, a lot of people depend on us, so we become examples for others. So a lot of people learn a lot of things from us. So our character should, yeah, really mold others. They should feel something inspiring from us. That's one thing that I want to say. And the other one is like your attitude matters a lot. So the only difference between us and others is our attitude. So people really like you, or they want to be with you, or they want to learn from you because of your attitude. So I think these are small areas which we can make sure that we really monitor these things always, so that we'll be able to be successful to some extent. There are definitely great people out there. So comparatively, we are very small, but like in our circle, I think if you can enjoy the reputation, if you're really committed to what you're doing, and you're really helpful for others also. So this is the message that I want to convey, Rohit sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Excellent message, excellent opening remark. and definitely we are happy for your excellent remark, the way you started, what are the actually objective of the students and what should they do in their personal and professional life. Absolutely, we are right. So, sir, can we go ahead with the presentation? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Definitely.
sir, no
We'll
problem.
start.
Yes, sir, let's go slowly. Yeah.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay.
Sir, it is visible.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
shall we
All the
start,
best.
sir? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So, uh, I'm really, again, I want to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity. So, when Rohit sir, asked me for the first time whether I would be able to do a session, I really didn't have any idea about from where he's calling and to which institution he belonged to. So I didn't have that idea. But then after we spoke a little bit, then I understood. Okay, we have to do this because there are a lot of students who are going to get benefited out of this session. So I thought to introduce you one area, or I would say it's a subject. Why? Because this is a subject that really matters a lot for higher education or for any competitive exams. But I want to introduce this to the group of institutions. I think this includes the schools as well. So this would be more useful for school students because you need to connect this with the first point that I told you. If you're really planning for competitive exams, if you really want to get into government positions, or if you really want to crack some civil service examination, I think we need to master verbal ability. So the topic for today would be verbal ability mastery for competitive exams. Now, competitive exams also includes various other exams like UPSC, say state level exams, like for our state it's like TNPSC, and then you have a lot of other exams like defense, academy exams, then MBA entrance tests like CAT, MAT, and banking tests like IBPS, SBI, all these things. Verbal ability is a common topic, which I mean common subject, which we can master so that we become very proficient in terms of applied or functional English. So verbal ability is basically a section. It is, you cannot look at it as a subject because it's more of a section in the examination. So this is what we're going to deal with. I'm going to put it very simple for you so all of you could understand what is there and how this really works. So we'll go ahead. Yeah. So the first thing that I want to, tell you all, if you're new to this term, I'm not very sure like how many of you have really heard about this term. So if you're very new to this term, it means just English, right? So if you give another name for English, you can call it as verbal ability, right? So for to consider the literal meaning, for example, when I say verbal in your school, you would have learned like verbal and non-verbal communication. We have heard about it, right? So verbal means using words, and ability, it is capacity or potential. Okay, your ability. So when you put it together, it becomes verbal ability, which means your ability to use words as effectively as possible. See, this could be in terms of writing or in terms of speaking, right? So verbal ability is a section in any exam where it tests your proficiency in English, especially connected to three areas which I will introduce to you. Right. So, to put it very simple, verbal ability is a very small section, and you will have a number of questions plus, from these areas where you have to put in the right answers to the question. So most of the questions in any competitive exams are objective type of questions. And unless we are very strong in the concepts of verbal ability, we'll not be able to clear those questions, because the standard is very high. Now you can ask me a question like, so what is the difference between, say, English and verbal ability? See, in English, the standard is a bit fundamental. I wouldn't say that it's not good. It's a bit fundamental. But when you go for exams like CAT or GMAT or any other exams, we have a feeling that the standard is very high. So that's because it comes under verbal ability. Okay. So unless we prepare for this section, it's very difficult for us to clear it at one attempt. If you really prepare well and you have good experience of solving all the questions, you would be definitely be able to crack it without any problem. So this is what verbal ability is all about. And there are a number of topics under verbal ability which you have already studied in your school and in your college. The only difference is in terms of quality and standard. Okay. So when I introduce the topics, you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. So I hope you understood the definition of verbal ability and how we should prepare for the same. Right. Yeah, we'll proceed now. You can ask me, why verbal ability? Now the answer is very simple. We learn verbal ability for two things. Now I said verbal ability focuses more on the written part, that is on the applied or the functional part. So when you learn verbal ability, or when you master verbal ability, you'll be able to write without any mistakes. You'll be able to write like authors, right? Your standard of writing would be very different when compared to people who have just learned other subjects, right? So you can be very unique in terms of learning verbal ability. This is one thing that you can achieve with verbal ability. And the next thing that you can do with this is, you can almost crack any exam. I mean, the English section of any exam, it would be easy for you to crack it without any problem, right? So these are the two main things that you would be able to achieve by learning verbal ability. Yeah, and for people who are, say, public speakers, or who want to become journalists, or people who are, teachers like us, they can learn verbal ability to improve their knowledge of communication, be it writing or speaking, whatever it is. They'll be able to go to the next level. Okay, so I would suggest that anybody belonging to any discipline can learn verbal ability, because it's a very common subject. And when you learn, people will start looking at you very differently, because this subject has so much of value in it, right? Because people can see difference in terms of your writing, people can see difference in terms of your communication, the way you do things, everything will change. Okay, and you'll also be able to be very eloquent in terms of speaking, or giving a presentation, or speaking in an interview. Whatever it is, it's going to really help us a lot. So this is why we need verbal ability, right? Usually verbal ability will be introduced in engineering streams, unless you are somebody who has an idea about competitive exams, and you have seen the syllabus, or you have come across some articles in the internet. Then you may be, you have an exposure to these things. But for a normal student who is into school, studying and coming out for college, may not be able to know the distinction between verbal ability and English. They would have studied the fundamentals of English, like grammar or any other vocabulary topics, right? They may not be knowing about verbal ability. So, what we do is sessions like this, when we organize awareness sessions like this really gives you, gives you an opportunity to learn about verbal ability in your even school level, right? So that when you want to really crack the examination, your preparation can start well ahead, before you could join the college, and you can really make sure that you can clear the examination in a single attempt, right? So in our college where I'm teaching, We handle this all the time, and this is part of the placements also. Now I'm going to show you in the end like where these sections would be applicable. So we'll proceed. Yeah. So as I told you, there are three things that we have to focus when learning verbal ability, right? So the first one is grammar, the second one is vocabulary, and the third one is comprehension, right? So these are the three major areas that the verbal ability covers, right? So grammar, I don't have to introduce you because we all have studied grammar right from school. So grammar means certain rules or certain concepts which will be very useful for us to either write or speak, right? So it helps us to speak without any mistakes, right? In the next slide, I'll talk more about grammar, right? So before that, next we'll go to the vocabulary part. The vocabulary is something which is very important. Now, what I'm telling here is you can expect questions from all the three areas in any exam. So you take any exam, verbal ability section will have questions from these three areas, right? So you need to be proficient in grammar, understanding the concepts, and knowing how to answer them appropriately. And the second thing is you need to be very good at vocabulary. There are several vocabulary topics which we have to become very familiar. I'm also going to give you some tips about how to learn grammar, how to learn vocabulary, and comprehension as well, right? So when it comes to comprehension, it's all about understanding. Comprehension means understanding, right? Your ability to understand either a written material or a spoken material, whatever it is, right? Comprehension is all about understanding. When I speak, if you're able to understand, that means your comprehension skills are good. Okay, so as a learner, we have to make sure that our skills related to these three areas are improving every day, right? So we need to have a self-monitoring system to find out if, say, every semester or every year, am I improving myself in terms of language? You need to test, you need to have an evaluation system for yourself to know whether this really it's going to be useful for you or not, right? You may have seen people who are preparing for exams for say 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, and trying to crack the examination, right? So much of hard work is required if you want to really get selected in any competitive exams. Because when we talk about competitive exams, it's all about competition. You know that any exam, take for example SBI, you take that bank exam, the whole of India is going to write that exam, and probably only 1,000 vacant posts would be there, for which around 1 lakh or 2 lakh people, they go and write the exam. So unless you are very confident about these sections, you may not be able to score well, right? So this is one section that we have in any examination, right? This is just one section. This section does not it's not a complete syllabus of the exam, right? Example I'll do. Like for example, if you're going and writing a banking examination, verbal ability is one section, quantitative aptitude would be another section, banking awareness would be another section, computer awareness would be another section, and general awareness would be another section. So out of all these sections, this verbal ability would be just one section. So it means that you need to master all these areas, right? Unless you know about the history of the bank. Imagine if I'm going for a government job like LIC. If I want to apply for the administrative officer post, and I have an exam, so unless I have some knowledge about the competitive part of the LIC, that is the history of life insurance corporation, unless I know that, it's going to be difficult for me to crack that area, right? So I need to know about insurance. I need to know about different insurance companies, especially about LIC. And I need to have some knowledge about the policies that they have introduced. I should know their history, timeline, everything. Only then I'll be able to clear that section. So similarly, whichever post you're applying for, the first thing that you really do is take the pattern of the examination and always apply for multiple examinations, right? Don't just focus on only one exam, right? Because the reason why I'm telling you is the quantitative aptitude and the verbal ability part is common to any exam. You become a master in it, you will be able to solve any exam. So you become eligible to write any exam just by mastering these two areas. It's going to be really useful for all of us, right? So what you do is you learn quantitative aptitude, you learn verbal ability, and then focus on the other sections of the exam. If it's banking, focus on the banking part, banking history, banking awareness, all these things. And in case you are going for an insurance type of exams, focus on the insurance part. And current affairs, it matters a lot. All of us should understand. And computer awareness, to some extent, we have to know. Now, this is how you need to prepare for any examination, right? And you should also write multiple exams because nobody knows which exam we may clear, right? So, why to restrict ourselves for one particular exam? If you are eligible for any exam, then write all the exams. There's nothing wrong in writing every exam and trying to clear, right? So don't be very particular about certain posts or certain brands. No, I always tell to the students in my class, I tell them they are very specific about joining engineering college. It's an engineering college where I'm working. So they are always very specific about certain companies. Say, for example, they want to get into Zogo or they want to get into Wipro. I tell them also prepare for other companies, right? Don't be focused only on Wipro. What if you do not get in Wipro, right? Then you will become blank. You will not have an idea about what else to do, right? So it's always better you target multiple roles, multiple companies, or exams, whatever it is, and then make sure that you are aware about all these areas. Okay, yeah. Now coming back to the point, now these are the three major areas that learners who are interested in going for competitive exams or campus placements must master, right? Grammar, vocabulary, and comprehension. Now the topics that we have under them are already there in your curriculum. Right from your school you have been learning it. The only difference is we have to go to the higher standard. That's the only difference that we have to do. Okay, so we'll proceed. Yeah. So taking the first one, I'm going to tell you what you can expect in the grammar part. Right now, these are some of the topics which comes under grammar. See, there are tons of topics under grammar, but I'm only recommending you the major topics. It doesn't mean that I'm not asking you to study other topics. For example, parts of speech. You say noun, pronoun, okay, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. It is essential for us. Okay, I have not included them here, but it doesn't mean that they are not required. It is good if you have some knowledge about those topics, right? But majorly in competitive exams, these are the topics from where questions are asked, right? But sometimes these topics require some knowledge of the other topics which I have not mentioned here. Okay, I've not mentioned here because those are fundamentals, right? I don't want to fill the slide saying that all these are very important, right? So that is completely up to you. So if someone asks what are nouns, you should be able to say. If someone asks what are adjectives, you should be able to say. Okay, those are fundamentals which we are supposed to know. Even if you belong to any other discipline also, these are fundamentals which we are supposed to know and understand, right? Yeah. So under grammar we have articles, prepositions. Now when we talk about articles, you know that this is going to be asked in the fill in the blanks type of. I told you that all questions are objective questions, right? As far as competitive exams are concerned, there are sections where you have reading comprehension. There are sections where you have essay writing. There are sections where you're supposed to write an email. Okay, that depends on the type of exam that you're applying for. So that's the reason why I'm asking you to refer to previous questions and the syllabus. So unless you have good idea about the previous syllabus and the questions, I mean the previous year's questions, you will not understand what type of questions they are asking. So that's the reason why I'm asking you to have a very good reference of these things. Yeah. Now, usually articles and prepositions come in fill in the blanks format, right? So articles, you all know we have two different articles, that is definite and indefinite articles. So definite article is the or the. The pronunciation depends on whether it's a vowel or a consonant sound afterwards. And then you also know the indefinite articles like a or an. Now, I don't want to get into all the topics because I'm not trying to teach here. I'm giving you a guidance here, right? So articles matters a lot, right? So we need to be a master articles to some extent, right? So when you learn articles, you should know where to use which articles. Is it going to be definite article or indefinite article or no articles at all, right? Many of us use articles unnecessarily, right? So there is a rule, no article, even that we have to be familiar. And when it comes to prepositions, we have three types of preposition: preposition of time, place, and direction. There are common prepositions, there are other unique prepositions like across, towards, all such things, right? Through. Okay, so many prepositions are there. You would be knowing all those things, right? The same topic, but you have to repeatedly practice a lot. When I'm saying practice, what I mean is solve questions. I'm not, asking you to read the rules again and again and again, because we have read rules right from our childhood. Articles was introduced probably in your first standard or second standard, right? Prepositions and any other topics as well. So we have been learning it throughout our life. So, don't spend more time on reading the concept or learning the concept. Instead, solve questions. When you solve, you get to learn. So that's the best and effective way to make sure that you're able to remember the usage part, right? That's why we call English sometimes as functional English, applied English, which means you're trying to apply the concepts that you have learned into the whatever you're trying to do, be it a exam, be it a project, be it a writing assignment, whatever it is, right? So applied knowledge is very important. So we say that it's practical knowledge, right? So it's very important, right? And the next one would be verbs and tenses. There are so many verbs, we all know that, right? So we need to be very familiar with all these verb forms. Basically, you can divide verbs as regular, irregular, static verbs. There are so many things that we have to cover, like main verbs, auxiliary verbs. Okay, and when we talk about auxiliary verbs, main verbs, all these things, we should also know about tenses. And that's why I've given verbs and tenses. Okay, but in the competitive examinations, they're going to ask you verb tenses. Verb tenses are nothing but like words like like, for example, you take auxiliary verbs. We have has, have, had, right? Has and have we use for simple perfect tense, right? And same way we use had for past perfect. Now we need to know all these distinctions for the continuous format, be it continuous, perfect continuous tenses, or like simple present continuous tenses, whatever it is, we have to use the present participle, that is the ing form, right? So these are things that you guys have to keep in your mind. So how do you keep it in your mind? You have to repeatedly practice so that stays with you. So all the three tenses you have to learn. You have to master it. Only then you will be able to remember them and use them. Now, verb tenses is like whether we have to have has or had or have. It depends on whether it's singular or plural, right? Similarly, we have first form of verb, second form of verb, and the third form of verb. First form of verb is the base or the root form of any word, and the second form of verb is the root form. I mean the past form, right? And the third one is the past participle form, which we use with perfect tenses. Now they're going to give you a sentence and they're going to ask you which form of the verb would be appropriate for this sentence. What do you have to do? You have to read it, look at the three different forms, and then select the one which is appropriate and suitable for the answer. You understand? So these are ways in which they're going to give you tenses. So see, like we may be wrong in understanding about these topics. For example, if I think, okay, they're going to give me a tense and they would ask me to change the tense and write the same sentence, you can't expect that type of questions. And this is the reason why I'm asking you to have, you have to look at these questions in prayer during your preparation, so you'll understand what type of questions they're going to ask in the exam. So you'll have a very good clarity to understand. Okay, so these are things that we have to make sure that we do it right. And then comes active and passive voice. Okay, I don't have to elaborate on these things because all these things are fundamental topics which you have to be familiar. There could be not more than, like, say, 2 or 3 questions from each of these, and again it depends on the exam. Okay, so you read this pattern and then go to an exam, and then you see there are certain topics which has never been asked from my list. Then you cannot misunderstand me. So the reason why I'm asking you to refer to every previous question is that you will get to know an idea about what questions have been asked from which topic. And this changes based on the examinations. Every exam would have different topics. This is the reason why I'm asking you to verify it. So we are very clear in knowing what is to come. Okay, so I'll give you an example for this also. I'll relate this to an interview experience. This is very simple here. For example, when we are going for an interview, imagine I have an interview tomorrow, and I'm preparing myself for the interview, and tomorrow I need to speak. Now, I need to ask myself, okay, I need to ask myself, tomorrow is going to be my interview, and I know I'm going to speak. And I also know what they are going to ask. The first thing they would be asking in an interview is, can you do a self introduction? Or can you introduce? Right? So I need to know about myself in order to introduce. Right? I really expect this question because we know any interview will start with a smile, and the next thing would be the self intro part. So when I'm knowing this, why can't I do it in the best way possible? Because you know what questions are being asked. They're not asking about some random topic in the world. They're not going to pick up some question which is not related to you and ask. They are asking about what you have done in your life, what you have crossed in your life. So it's all about you, right? So if I am not able to express myself in an interview, knowing that they are going to ask only these questions, so I should say that you have not practiced. See, you have a realization they're going to ask these questions, but I'm not prepared for it. So I have not taken any steps to prepare myself. So preparation is a must. If you look at singers, they just can't face the mic and sing just like that. They need to do some rehearsal, be it singing or dancing. Some rehearsal is essential. Why do they do it? Because they want to do it in the best way. I should sing a song, as if nobody else could sing that in the way I sing. Only then my song matters to everyone, right? If everybody could sing like me, then there's no difference at all. Now, this is applicable for life. You take this example for anything. So when you want to do something, do it, and in the best way. And for that, what is required? Practice is required. You don't practice, it will not come in the way you want or you expect, right? So that's the reason why we always ask you to practice. So when it comes to verbal ability, the only thing that we have to do is understand the concepts and put it into practice. Write Okay, if it's essay writing, write as many essays as possible, read as many essays as possible. If it's going to be grammar, read all the concepts and then make sure you solve questions. I mean, solving means you're going to solve tons of questions. Okay, you cannot say that, sir, I've solved 100 questions. Would that be sufficient? Definitely not. Okay, it's impossible to become an expert if you're limiting yourself. So language learning is lifelong activity. It's like your resume, right? It keeps building as you grow. Okay, it doesn't expire. So that's the way you have to look at uh, learning English, right? Okay, yeah. And then we have direct and indirect speech. Again, it's a topic which you are very familiar. So see, these topics, I wouldn't say that all of these topics would come for every exam. It depends on the exam. It depends on the question setting also, right? They may change the pattern now and then, right? It's not as frequent as we do in the placements, because every year the companies would change their questions. But in case of competitive exams, it's not the case. They're going to take some time, like 2 years or 3 years, and then they may change the pattern. So you need to be aware, updated about what is happening around. You need to check the official websites to make sure that is the right pattern. If you look at a old pattern and go to an exam, then you're not going to crack it. Definitely something you're going to miss it. So being updated is very essential. Yes. And the last one, and the last and the most important topic is sentence correction. You can also call it as spotting errors or error spotting, however you want. Now, this topic deals with identifying error in a sentence. Okay, the way you can identify the errors in a sentence. So this could be in writing, this could be in speaking. We all make mistakes, right? We all make mistakes. But how many of us really monitor our language when we speak? It's a question. Does anybody monitor us? No, nobody monitors us. Okay, if your friend is making a mistake, would you go and tell them, no, this is not the way you have to pronounce, or this is not the way you have to use this word? Do you take time to tell it? No, we don't do it normally. Because in India, as far as I know, people are really not bothered about what they are speaking or writing. Okay, because they think that this is the way we have to do. And many people, they don't suggest things because they are not bothered. All we are worried about is how to make meaning out of it. Okay, you say something, I understand, that's fine. I am really not ready to tell you, see, this is where you're making mistakes, please change it, try to change it. Now, unless you tell, that person who's speaking may not be knowing about his mistake. So it is a responsibility for all of us to teach when something goes wrong. It's a moral responsibility. You don't have to be a teacher for it. You can be a businessman, still teach something about language. So this has to be a moral responsibility, and everybody should do it, not only teachers, and especially teachers of English. Everybody can do this. When somebody goes wrong, you have to help them. You have to tell them, right? Wouldn't you save a person, who's not well? If he's hospitalized, we really want them to, the doctors really want them to save, right? So they can live for some time. Their family members would be happy. That is the kind of moral responsibility that we have to have, because the whole life depends on what we do here. And especially for the teaching fraternity, I think it is our complete responsibility to help as many people as possible in our lifetime. And we don't do it for getting some awards, we don't do it for getting some recognition. I think we have to do it because we are different, because we have to. Okay, these are things that may be applicable for every one of us, right? So under sentence correction, we have various subtopics like subject verb agreement, modifiers, parallelism, and other things, right? So these maybe we can have more sessions on these topics one day, and if time permits and if opportunities are provided, definitely we can interact on these topics. To understand more about these topics, you can refer to any website. I mean, you given the internet, tons of questions are going to come. You read the concepts and try to solve the question. So taking online tests, solving worksheets, okay, are very important. Okay, that's the whole process which we have to understand, right? So the key skills that we have to learn, I mean, in order to excel in this area, is the grammar concepts. You should know the concepts, and then you should also know how to apply them appropriately. These are two things that we have to learn from this area, right? And the next one is vocabulary. In vocabulary, whatever I've written here, I think almost like 70 to 80% you would be knowing, because all are very familiar topics to you. The only difference is, I told you, the standard would be very high. So synonyms and antonyms, okay, would be asked. And fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks in the sense choosing the right word based on the context. Okay, so that is asked in terms of fill in the blanks. And in grammar, now you can expect articles or prepositions or tenses in the format of fill in the blanks. And sentence completion, they're going to give you a sentence which is incomplete as a question, and then they're going to give you some options. So you have to look at the option and see which option suits the the completion part, and you select that and give the answer. So that's called a sentence completion. You try to complete the sentence. And then we have idioms and phrases, which you know, right? So idioms, they always have special meanings, right? They don't follow the literal sense. They have special meaning, idiomatic expressions, we call it. So we need to be familiar with these things because these topics are asked. And phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are very important because there are tons of phrasal verbs. We have dictionaries of idioms and phrases. We have dictionaries of phrasal verbs. So you imagine how many words are there. So I'm not asking you to master every word out there, but then the major things you would be knowing. See, we are using these things in our own life, but we still don't know they are phrasal verbs. For example, sit down, get up, right? Break down, right? All these are phrasal verbs, right? So we use it, but we are not aware about many of the words which we are using. So knowledge about these two things are very important. Then verbal analogy. Verbal analogy is a topic that talks about the relationship between two words. They're going to give two words, and there is some relationship between these two words, and based on that relationship you have to find a similar pair of words from the option. This is what is verbal analogy is all about. You can get complete details from the internet or any competitive examination books to understand what these topics are and how to answer them, right? Yeah. And then we have one word substitution. One word substitution is nothing but, imagine I'm giving you a sentence like, a person who teaches in the college, now he is called as a professor or a teacher, right? A person who heals people, you can call him as a doctor or a physician or a therapist, right? So like this is one word substitution. Instead of a sentence, you try to give a single word. It's called as one word substitution. So these are certain things that you have to learn. And another one is spellings and confusing words. These topics are a bit rare, but then knowing them is not wrong, right? So let's learn them. Spellings and confusing words. So spellings, they would give you some, randomly chosen word, and the spelling might be wrong, and you need to identify which one is the right spelling. Similarly, confusing words, pairs of words which are confusing. So you need to guess which one is the right one. So these are very basic. And foreign words, sometimes it's not very frequent, but then I've included them because if it is asked, maybe we can be aware about it, right? Foreign words, they're going to give some random words from different languages, and they're going to ask an equivalent of that word. So these are certain things that comes under the vocabulary part. And every topic requires a lot of commitment from our side. You cannot master a topic unless you spend hours of time solving these questions. Okay, and you need to evaluate where you stand every week or every month. You need to see the progress of your scores. Imagine I'm taking a test today on synonyms. What is my score? Next week, I am taking another test on synonyms. What is my score? Third week, I'm doing the same and looking at my score. So topic wise preparation is going to see whether we are progressing or not in terms of getting scores, because scores are important, right? So that's what you do. Okay, and beyond scores, these topics will help you become very fluent in terms of writing and speaking. So there is dual advantage that we enjoy by mastering the verbal ability part of the examination, right? So these are things that I want to tell you with respect to vocabulary. And what are the skills that is required for improving our vocabulary? They are reading and listening. These are the two ways in which you can really improve your vocabulary. So reading develops your ability to understand. It also develops your ability to speak, because you get to know a lot of words and you can be very fluent. And at the same time, reading also helps you write beautifully, because you become very strong in words, and you would be knowing about every word that is existing, and you'll be able to write a beautiful article or a research paper, whatever it is, right? So reading really helps. Listening, I think one of the most easiest and one of the most important skill sets that we have to know is listening, because the more you listen, the better you can understand and respond. Understanding is very important before you can respond. Now, these are certain things that you have to be really focusing on when you are preparing for the exam. So the next one is major topics in comprehension. If you look at the comprehension part, we all know about reading comprehension. They're going to give you a passage and they're going to ask you questions based on the passage. So this is something that you have done throughout your life in school, especially, right? And when you come to college and for placements, we still have it. Okay, many companies, they have reading comprehension exercise for their examination. And in competitive exams, it's a major, exercise that is asked. And the passages would be very long, so you need to know how to read it very quickly and then locate the answers and try to solve them as quickly as possible. So this is what makes reading comprehension very challenging. When it, most students would say, "Sir, I didn't have time to, complete the reading comprehension." It's because they have to spend more time on it, and usually it happens. So if you want to be kind of be an expert in this particular topic, you need to solve as many passages as possible, and you have to have a timer with you to note down how long it is taking you for completing one passage. Now, these are things that you have to really do, right? And listening comprehension is listening to an audio and then responding to the question. It's not common in competitive exams like government exams or banking exams, but this is part of exams like language proficiency tests like IELTS, BEC, TOEFL, all these exams. If you want to go abroad, you need to be very good at listening comprehension. So unless because all these exams, TOEFL or IELTS, they have, the module, listening module. So you will be asked questions based on that. You'll have to listen to the audio and then answer the question to check your understanding and response. So these things are very important. Okay, because it's under comprehension, I've included here. Parajumbles is nothing but jumbled words, kind of, but in paragraph format. That is, you'll have long sentences, and then the sentences are not logically arranged. It's all jumbled. What we have to do is we have to read it and arrange them in the proper order, and every sentence would start with an alphabet. Okay, it would be named A, B, C, D, E, like that. So in the options, you will have A, B, C, D, E, A, E, D, C, E, something like that. You'll have to choose the logical arrangement. You should know which is the opening sentence. You should know which is the following sentence. You should know which sentence would come after which sentence. And all these things, then you randomly arrange them and you see whether there is an option like that. To do this, you'll definitely, be able to crack the parajumbles part. Now, this is about, testing your logical reasoning, okay, and the flow also. And critical reasoning, it's all about critically analyzing the given text. Say, imagine I'm presenting two arguments. So, and I'm asking a question based on that. So I want to know, like, what you understand from the arguments, both arguments. So this is what critical reasoning is all about. Critically evaluating a given content is critical reasoning, and finding out what the author is trying to say. This is critical reasoning, and we can see, about all these things maybe in future, right? The next one is theme detection. They're going to give you a very short passage, and they're going to ask question like, what is the theme of the passage, or what is the title of the passage, something like that. So it's like, they're testing whether you're able to understand the central theme of the passage. That's what they are trying to locate. So these are certain topics that comes under comprehension. And para completion is nothing but they give you a small paragraph, and one part of it is not completed. So the part which is to be completed will be given in the option, and all the options would look very similar. You'll get confused like which part, which option would be the right. So you need to read, understand, and make sure that, okay, this is the right one, which will complete the particular paragraph or sentence. And you choose the as the answer. So this is again challenging. Okay, the more number of questions you will be able to solve, the better you can do it. Okay, now what are the skills that we need to have? Again, reading and listening. Both things are very important. These two skills, if you can, really practice on them, solving all these questions would be easily possible for us. Yes. Yeah, that's it for this one. And yeah, now you can maybe like if you're watching it live, if all of you are there listening to this or viewing this, you can note down this link. In this link, I want you to write about the challenges in grammar. There are, see, many students who feel that they are not strong in grammar. There are so many students who feel that they are not very good or strong in grammar, right? So for them, what you can do is you can go to this link, and it is a small activity kind of thing, and you can paste your opinion. And what you do is you just, what according to you feel as a challenge in grammar. Which part of grammar learning is a challenge for you? Why do you think grammar is difficult for you? Why do you think you are weak in grammar? So you can, you don't have to type sentence, just one word. Okay, grammar is difficult, something like that. Grammar is it's not easy to understand, something like that. Okay, you can contribute your points. Maybe I can see that later and get back to you in another session to show. Maybe like I'll try to see if I get any response. I'm not very sure if I could see response, but let me just try. Rohit sir, is it okay if I could
Yes, sir.
see
Yes, yes.
if
It is
students are
absolutely okay, sir. Yeah.
responding?
Definitely, you have share
Okay,
your link, and those students who have any challenges and problem, they will ask you directly, sir.
definitely, sir. I would be
Yeah.
happy to help them anytime.
Yeah. And sir, thank you very much. It was a wonderful session. And the students who will have any challenges, they will definitely ask you in the link you have given. So, sir, any final comment from
Please.
your side? Because language,
Yes, sir.
people are afraid of speaking language. They're unable to read, write, and it has been that the English is not our mother tongue. So people face a lot of challenges in language. So, any final comment or suggestion you would like to give our students?
Yes, sir, definitely. Yeah, I'll just have this two things which I want to introduce.
Okay.
If you have problems related to grammar, you can post it in this link. Maybe I can share this link with Rohit sir, and you can
Yes,
get
sir.
it
I will
from
definitely. I
him.
will share among all the students. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And if you have any problems related to vocabulary, this is the link. So I will share both the links to sir. You don't have
Both the
to
links. No problem. No problem.
yes.
So
So
now let us share the link right now once again.
yes, sir. You want me to, yeah, I'm
Okay.
sharing. Is it
So
okay?
this is the link for grammar, and another one. What is the vocabulary link? Please go ahead. The same
Yes,
link
this
or different? Okay,
the same
this is
one,
the
sir.
link.
Same one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same one. Okay, understood, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
yeah.
Great. Maybe I can
So both
send
the
it to you
links.
on WhatsApp also. No
Okay,
problem, sir.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, to just summarize, I want to say that, when you take verbal ability into consideration, now these are some of the major exams where this verbal ability sections are asked. So if you are candidates, aspiring candidates who are preparing for all these, definitely this is going to help you a lot. This is one thing. And in case they have any questions or you want to ask me any questions, I'd be happy to answer, sir.
So definitely, sir. The students will have questions later on, and they will ask me, and gradually I will post the questions to
Sure,
you.
sure.
Right.
Great,
Okay.
sir. Great. Yeah.
So actually, sir, it was a wonderful session with you. You have given all the mantras, all the essence of language in a very short period of time. That is 1 hour.
Thank you,
If a
sir.
student will follow you positively, strictly, I am 100% confident that he will have no problem as far as any competitive examinations are concerned. Still, the students, if they will have any problem, definitely they will contact you. I have your contact number, email ID, and at the same time your LinkedIn profile. So definitely they will join you in the profile, sir.
Yes, sir. And
Right.
one thing that I want to tell is, you see one address here, sir, the Dawn Publishers.
Yes, sir.
It is actually what I do, and even part of it, Dr. Arun Behera and many others like Dr. Satya
Okay.
and many others are
Okay.
part of it, sir. And
Okay.
in this particular, it's a YouTube channel as well. So I have spoken a lot of videos on how to improve your language skills, how to develop your vocabulary like that. Maybe you can share it with your students. It may be useful for them, sir.
So definitely.
Yes, sir. So I would really like to thank you for the opportunity, sir. It has been great interacting with our institution and especially with you. And thank you so much for giving this wonderful opportunity to me. And I'm expecting to, do more for your institution and for your students anytime.
So, sir, on behalf of the Genius Group of Institutions, Chairman, sir, our Chief Executive Officer, madams, principals, senior teachers, students, and parents, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with the Genius Group of Institutions, and we will be obliged to you for the rest of our lives, sir. In future, definitely we would like to have more sessions for our students directly, and as you are into the publication, and our students would like to read your publication, we would like to go through your publication. So any soft copy or any hard copy or provisions are there, please let us know that we can subscribe or we can go ahead. So please let us know for the same also.
Yes, sir. I'll leave the details to your WhatsApp numbers,
Yes,
all the details.
yes, right, right, sir. So, thank you very much for joining us. And those people who will join offline in gradual time, you can also directly contact Dr. Rajesh Bojan, sir. And for any information regarding grammar, vocabulary, comprehension, and any reading, writing, speaking, and listening, any skills you would like to develop with very confidently, then definitely you should talk to her and you can contact me so that I will share his contact details, his email ID, and LinkedIn ID, and everything. So this is the end of the presentation, and see you. Take care. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you, sir. Thank you for
You
being
too,
with
sir.
us.
Thank you so much.